and see if not every single one is a bedwench for their white counterpart. They
Nah.
only put black women in movies DEI to have them be the bedwench. They could fulfill their DEI requirements by having a black man and woman together, but they don't because it is a political agenda. It's the programming. People aren't naturally just going to be this middle light skin mixture thing. No, it's called programming. They're making you used to that concept. You are programmed already. You expect it. You have successfully been programmed because you accept this is just the way it is. No, that's their projection for their programming. And with statements like that, they know it's working. But you have choice. You act like decision making has nothing to do with what the future beholds. And that's crazy. And I would reference the book right here. If you want to talk about influence of the media, I will reference the book Age of Propaganda, The Everyday Use and Abuse of Persuasion by Anthony Pratkins and Elliot Aronson. More references and bodies of work by PhDs. So if anyone has questions about how media influences us and the impact of every movie, TV show, ad, commercial, and children's cartoon having a black woman with a white man, read up. Get the book Age of Propaganda, The Everyday Use and Abuse of Persuasion, and stop theorizing and living in idealism. I yield.
Napa, was you trying to say something or anybody else?
I just I don't know. I see what I agree with God Energy. I see what he's saying, you know. I just think that integration, interracial relationships is a normal occurrence in a globalized world. And America leads in that. It leads in globalization and intersectionality. And it always will be. And I don't think that's programming. I just think that's natural anthropological morphing. That's what I think that is. Yeah, there might be some companies, institutions that promote it a little harder than others. Yeah, Disney definitely goes hard with like super hard DEI type shit. Right. Like we'll see that. We'll see that. We'll see Target. Certain companies definitely go harder than others. And some want to keep an ethnocentric image for them, you know, Long John Silver's type shit, right? Like there are some companies that want to keep their shit ethnically pure, and they have the right to do that. That's what America is. But I just think that intersectionality is the natural way of the world, and it always will be. And the past, if you even go outside of Africa, you go to other nations. I can't cue it right now, I'm outside, but I can find atrocities, genocides, homicides, rapings, and pillagings from all kind of different cultures, from all walks of life. But human beings evolve. Human beings do adapt, they evolve, and all human beings, all cultures have a domination period. They have a cleansing cycle. They have war. They have Renaissance periods. We're kind of in a Renaissance period, right? We're kind of in a Renaissance period right now. Believe it or not, some would believe that we're in a dark age, but I think we're still in a Renaissance period right now. And in Renaissance periods, barriers are broken down. You know, logic and rationality and reason is at the forefront of the collective culture. So I don't think I don't think we should be hung up too much on the past. I think we should be aware of it. We should acknowledge it, but we should also be aware that as we evolve as humans, intersectionality is just a natural occurrence. As we globalize and as we unionize as a one human race. This is one big human race. And there will be sections in countries and nations and communities that stay pure, that keep their ethnic whatever pure for the most part. I think that'll be a thing for sure. But when you talk about the general consensus, the general public, I think it's gonna start looking very light skinned. It's gonna start looking very I wouldn't even say light. Let me stop saying light skin, because you know what? Okay, let me stop saying this too. Let me stop saying this. Light skin is not the word to use, because there will be dark skinned people that will still have these very ambiguous features. Hair will be different. The green eye color, which is very rare, will be much more prominent. different textures of hair will be more prominent. All kind of different things will start coming. People with freckles, red hair, dark skin. I think it's just going to be a lot more variety in the human, especially in the West. Maybe not so much Africa. Maybe not so much these places that are ethnic, homogenous like that. It'll be America and Europe that will start looking a little brown and tinted. And I just think that's just, again, natural occurrence of globalization. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with it either. If you're scared of it, then, shit, keep it pure in your shit. Keep your shit pure. That's it.
We're going to authors, God Energy.
Okay. I think you're pretty much right. The racism thing is not gonna go. We actually put a name to it. This is a human characteristic that we put a name to it. Racism is really in everybody's culture, everybody's continent, everybody's nation, right? They're gonna treat people differently if you're not from there. I don't think that's gonna go anywhere. And now, because of the fact that it's not going nowhere, it should always be continuously fought. That's where I can side on a side that I don't like, bringing racism up all the time and stuff like that. Some people on the panel do, but that's one thing that I agree with them on, because that is always going to be a thing. And you always got to have control over that racism thing. Because if you let it get out of control, it will get out of control. People want power. The majority of people don't want this type of people here. It's very high chance of it happening. So we always got to fight against that thing we call racism. I think there's nothing wrong with that, but generalizing and things of that nature, we should stop doing that. But not stop fighting the racists that we seen blatantly on the street, right? That's all I gotta say.
We're going to God Energy, and then we're going to Napa.
No, I'm good. You can skip me.
Yeah, I'll be real quick. I think the issues of the 21st century, we're a quarter into this century. I think the issues that we're going to start seeing that are really prevalent and important, way more important than this race thing, even though, again, race is important, ethnic history is important, it's going to be classism. As we get into this automation thing, this AI thing, and the techno feudalism that's right in front of our face with Elon Musk and all that shit, which is a form of white supremacy. You're right. This he's blatantly putting out Nazi salutes on stage, right? This is all of that. But I think, this also affects even your average white person too. If they're not talking about UBI, universal basic income, if they're not talking about basic food, clothing, and shelter, we're all fucked. It's like everybody's fucked except for a very small minority of people. And I think that's the issues that we should be, as Black people, getting behind, and not necessarily this ethnic thing. I don't think we're going to win with that. I think, yeah, man, that's reparations. At this point, the conversation of reparations is pretty much over with if they don't start talking about UBI. If we get a little bit more than the white people, maybe, I don't know. But I think at this point, man, it's just classism. It's class warfare and not racial tension. All that shit is kind of like, it's going to be a thing of the past for the most part, and it would die out with the baby boomers and all that shit. And even us in our 30s and 40s, we'll start tapering off, and our children probably won't be thinking about it or caring about it as so much, and they'll be more concerned about classism, class warfare.
That's crazy to me, right? And it's crazy to me because during Trump's first administration, those was 20-year-old white boys holding tiki torches walking down the street like the KKK, not
That
baby
part.
boomers.
That
Oh yeah, I want to
part.
address that. Issa, can I address
It
that real
just
quick?
kills me
Can I?
that we're constantly trying to get rid of this conversation about racism in a And today, like earlier today, we was literally talking about how, they're getting rid of all of the DEI and diversity inside of all of these great things that we was just talking about, right? So this idea that racism is not a big issue, it's about classism. Yeah, that's that white supremacist ideological
No,
idea
no, no, no,
of
no.
don't
I
talk
feel you.
about
No,
racism.
that's not.
Just don't talk about it no more. It'll just go away. It'll just die out. But when? When has it ever died out? Obviously, racism, tribalism has been here since the dawn of humanity, but somehow we think that it's just going to die out here in
Yeah.
America. Like that's crazy to me. And it's one of those things because it is a hard conversation. It's hard to fight for reparations. It's hard to go against how you feel naturally of wanting to be with somebody to stay loyal to your fucking race and not just deal with any old body because you want to see yourself reflected in your children. That stuff is hard. It ain't for the weak. It's easy to just deal with the people who like you. That's easy. like, and I feel like a lot of the times we taking the easy way out and pretending like all of those other things aren't a real thing to make ourselves feel better about taking that easy way out. I don't care how many times y'all try to say it. Eugenics is real, right? The racism is real. And as long as you keep on trying to pretend like it's not, they win. Them white people are on the same page. Fucking black people is a part of their plan. It's a part of the plan. So even when they're having sex with you, they're still a part of the plan that they're having hand. They'll have sex with you, right? But then an overwhelmingly amount of white people voted for Trump recently. Tell me more about how that these is good old white folk.
No, come on,
Like
come on.
y'all not
It's not. It's
speaking,
not
and
that.
I'm
It's not
sorry,
that.
but y'all not speaking in reality. Like y'all speaking in idealism and
Okay,
what y'all want to see,
those
and
people
not what
that
Not
y'all
voted
in
for
looking
Trump,
at.
reality.
those
My
people
hand.
that voted for Trump is not. That's not the same as a Nazi. First of all, those Nazis are a minority in the white population. That's a
I
small
don't need
minority.
everybody to be a Nazi though. Everybody don't have to be a Nazi. People could be like Nero and come up and hear Nazis and be like, I agree with a lot of what they're saying, but I'm one of the good ones. Like, get out of here. I don't need those people neither. I don't. I don't need them. And guess what? No matter how that they don't align with the Nazis, and they'll say that they're not with the Nazis, they all still voted for the same motherfucker though. So what does it matter? Go ahead, Swan.
Okay, guys, everything is going on today. It ain't no, oh, it's not racism. Oh, it's not this, is that. And no, everything is going on. You have to ask yourself, or they have to ask themselves, how am I getting hit? Am I getting hit with racism? Am I getting hit with classism? Am I getting hit with ageism? Sexism, whatever. You got to ask yourself. All this shit is going on right now. Every fucking thing. The thing from the past, eugenics, whatever it may be. You have to ask yourself, if they trying to fucking kill us, DNA is out. Okay, there is no. Oh no, see, we're moving forward. No, they moving forward with all the same shit. So when they do your ass in, or you see them doing others, or hear stories, you have to ask which way is this? Because they don't have to get you racially to bring you down. They don't have to get you medically to bring you down. They could use this the situation over here to bring you down, and then use this situation over here to bring her down. All this shit's on the earth. Don't you ever think, oh, we're moving forward. And no, they're moving forward with the same shit. You got to observe what's going on with you and how you or your community is being hit. I'm done.
Exactly, Swan. Let me just say this for the people who are purposely not understanding what is happening, right? Nobody is saying that you can't date who you date and you can't love who you love. But in the same way, we can recognize that the bottom of the black people who are buying Jordans, who are not raising their kids correctly, who are not educating their kids. kids, they're hurting the community. Why can't we point out that the fact that you having interracial relationships and diluting your blood is also a part of the issue too? Why we can't talk about both? Why we can only look at it from one side? I'm confused. If we know about white eugenics and we know that they have these plots and plans to come into our neighborhood and impregnate our women and have sex with our men, right? We know these things. We know it historically that it was happening. So how is it a problem for us to point out that you dealing within that is the issue just as much as somebody constantly buying a pair of Jordans? Like, what the fuck? Y'all want, like, if y'all want to date these people and not be critiqued for it, don't be in a conversation where critiques are happening. Don't be there. You need to be in conversations where, they're more open to interracial relationships. And in that way, and having the conversation in that way. But it's very weird. And it's like projecting, like we're having a regular conversation. Everybody is speaking to their truths. And somehow everything somebody is saying on the opposite side of this interracial relationship is being misconstrued, even though we're all saying, do what you want to do. So really, you're just in defense mode of what you want to fuck and don't nobody care.
Yeah.
Because I don't hear anybody speaking to the eugenics aspect of it. I don't hear nobody speaking to the fact of how these things has already been in place, and we're just leaning into what already was there. And I'm gonna just land on this. When that little white boy drove from one state to the other state to kill the protesters, he wasn't doing it because they were middle class or if they were lower class. They were doing it because there was protesting Black Lives Matter. That's what they were doing. They ain't have shit to do with classism.
It's a queen. What about the white boy that shot up the black church? He did that because of classism, right?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be
Absolutely. All of
very
that
clear
is
about.
because of
I'm gonna be very
classism.
clear about what I'm saying. I'm gonna be very
That's
clear about what I'm about to say.
that's crazy.
Scott. Now, we gotta be very clear about what we're talking about. Okay, we were talking about interracial relationships, which is on the individual level, and that shouldn't be politicized or historicalized. Like, I think that should be the individual's own thing. But when we do talk about a systematic approach, that's two different conversations. So maybe I need to establish that for myself, that we're having two totally different conversations that have nothing to do with each other. So we're talking about these white boys that write manifestos and shoot up churches and high schools and stuff like that. That's a different topic for in my example. So instead of going into the interracial thing and the problem with that, those white boys do not reflect the white population, and that's not something to use against
But
for this
that was
conversation.
against the classism conversation.
But
Like when you
also,
brought up classism.
Yeah, so I
Like
want
I
to
was
bring, so I want
specific
to
in
address
saying
that
that.
too. With these white boys, when
but
you read their manifestos,
but
hold on, God energy, let me
oh,
finish.
you wasn't
I'm,
done.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
You wasn't done.
So
No,
Yeah,
I
you
cut him
wasn't
off,
done.
God
Go.
energy.
when you read
I
their
cut him off.
manifestos, which I love reading these manifestos, right? I love reading because I want to see what's going on. They come from, most of the time, not all the time, from poor backgrounds, very fucked up backgrounds for the most part. Again, they do not reflect how the average white boy is feeling in America. But this is in America. A whole nother thing I want to talk about with that, because when you have a society that's not paying their people right, when it's damn near impossible to have a family and a home and all that shit, you're gonna see collective crash out cultures. Black people have their crash out culture, and it manifests a little differently, and white people have their crash out culture manifests differently. They're having the same issues that we're having, economically, socially, but what happens is they internalize that hatred into an outward. They outward that hatred and they shooting up shit. It's very, very clear. So while very decent, is no excuse. It's disgusting. Most people, most sane human beings, do not agree with that at all. At all. The average white American would not get behind. That's a fringe thing. Those 300 white boys go out these torches, or white boys there. I think it's Cincinnati right now on the bridge, or wherever, Detroit, that's doing that. Those are minorities in the collective white conscience right now, and they're fringe because they're angry at the browning of America or the browning of Europe. They're not getting paid. They can't make a living. They can't get a woman. Not because white women are trying to fuck black men. They just can't afford one. They're having problems. There's all kind of other social things happening in this climate that's making them radicalize themselves. Black people have radicalization too. Black people are getting radicalized, but we're not generally ones that go out and shoot shit up. But we also are getting radicalized because it's not the conversation is not, there's no equilibrium here in America. Again, going back to this classism thing. And I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. I'm theorizing right now. I'm intellectualizing right now. I don't have a book about it. Just from observation and listen to other commentators, I'm like, this makes more sense than white people and versus black people on a collective level. Like, I don't believe that. I think even your average Joe that voted for Donald Trump it doesn't want the extermination of black people or to price black people out or to genocide black people. I don't agree with that. I think that's an extremism, and it doesn't reflect the collective conscious. These micro groups are just small fringe groups. Fringe groups they're disappearing. They're disappearing. They're going out. It's going out of business. But they're very loud. They're very loud. They go out in mass when they do come out and they flame their tiki torches and they spout out hateful speech. But it's not the collective reflection. It's not a reflection of the collective. The same way black consciousness is not a reflectiveness of most black people. Most black people ain't talking about ethnic purity and all that bullshit. Or we was kings and all that shit. I know that's racist to say that. But most black people ain't talking like that. They're not talking like that. Because that's not where the collective is going. It's becoming more globalized. But yeah, I'm done.
That's on you, Perp.
Hi. So I want to push back on something you said, Napa. It's not a fringe group that's going away, right? You know, we thought the Tea Party was a fringe group that was going away, and the Tea Party morphed into MAGA. So, you know, let's not sit on our laurels and feel like, okay, these are just crazy people, and it's gonna go away. All you have to do is look at the last 10 years, or the last 20 years, and see that, I'll bring it back to the Donald Trump stuff, and just see that people who used to be considered Reagan Republicans are now a fringe group, right? So this ideology that is spreading through large portions of white America, um, specifically by white men being held up by white women, the fear of the minority majority, the fear of losing power. You know, you can just, all you have to do is look at what's going on every day and the type, what he's doing and what he's saying, saying that if a institution has a curriculum that's Afrocentric, that's reverse racism, and we're going to take their funding. They're very specific about their terms, and they're very specific about what they're highlighting and what they're making the poster child for DEI. We all know that DEI encompasses veterans and disabled and transgendered and this, that, and the third, but they make it about Black people. So you do yourself a disservice if you feel like it's just a fringe group and it's going away. You got to stay woke, brother. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I just find it funny that the people that are advocating the most for the interracial, and this is not to you, Napa, because I feel like you're more so like intaking information and as well as putting in your own, your 2 cents, your little swag on it. And I appreciate that. But the people who were most adamant about this subject are quiet, and they're talking about everything else. Like, why are we talking about Walmart and Target in the comments and not necessarily speaking to the conversation that is at hand? And Nero, please don't think that somebody's going to kick you for having a conversation. Nobody's going to kick you. I just needed you to understand that you constantly cutting people off was an issue. You're not going to get kicked for the things that you have to say or your opinion. So I get where I get that it was a metaphor. I get it. But what I'm saying is that you're speaking to the things that none of the issues that's actually being put out there. The conversation about the whitening of the countries that actually is historically known. Nobody spoke to that. That is on the interracial side, right? Nobody is speaking to the idea of how this programming is happening within movies, within television, right? But we're constantly on this defensive of just, y'all just sound crazy. I would like to see some articulation behind that if you truly do have a reason behind it. I didn't say that you said crazy at all. I'm just saying this is my words and reiterating. So I get where y'all coming from, but I just wish that you guys would speak to the conversation instead of being on the defense. That's it.
Let me jump in here, Issa.
Yeah.
I think that proximity is a big thing too. This is why I don't like using words like our community, because this is a big ass country. I'm on the West Coast. Most of y'all probably live on the East Coast or the South. I don't know. And proximity is a big thing, man. And that does influence your political persuasion, your worldview. I mean, I grew up around all kind of races. Yo, it was never just one thing. Latino, Asian, black, white. And yeah, I definitely
Hold
deal
up,
with some
real quick,
racism.
Napa. Really
Yeah,
quick,
go ahead.
Napa. I'm sorry, because what I don't do is deal with victim mindset. Saying I don't do that, right? Nobody's saying that you have to agree or it's defensive. What I'm saying is that you're not speaking to the facts that we're talking to, and you're making the conversation about everything else but the facts, which comes off as defensive. It comes off as you really don't have anything to say to the facts that we're saying, so you're just going to constantly pick apart whatever it is that you can latch on to, and that's disingenuous to the conversation. So, what I would say is, right, if we're going to talk about the interracial relationships, and then you're going to ask us, well, why do you feel this way? And then we give you a list of 5 to 6 things of the reasons why we feel that way, and you don't talk to any of them, you're being disingenuous. And you're picking apart and talking about a bunch of other things that really doesn't matter to the point of the conversation. But, I'm done. Go ahead, Napa. I'm sorry.
That's all good. No, yeah, I was just saying the proximity thing too. That's why I don't like using words like our community, because like what's happening in my community is going to be a little different from what's happening in Brooklyn or South Carolina or Florida or Texas. And I think that like everyone has their own like issues in their community that might be a little different, and their experience too. Like like again, I grew up around all kind of different races, and I don't think I ever dealt with blatant racism. Yeah, there was all these little small little microaggressions that we all did, calling Mexicans chunties, calling Arabs Arabs, or whatever the fuck it is. Like there's all kind of shit that happens when you're dealing with human beings, because humans, we're pretty much ignorant for the most part. Human beings are very limited, very for the most part, human beings are just human beings. We do foul shit sometimes. But when you live in these areas in the country that are a little bit more diverse than others, I think different issues come about. And that's just my opinion, though. Again, I'm just theorizing. I think if you're living on the South somewhere, you're going to see a lot more of this segregation. You might be dealing with a lot more segregation, or even up north in New York, which I find a little bit more segregated. LA, LA is a little bit more diverse. I've been in New York. I've lived in New York for a while, and it seems a bit more segregated than LA. So y'all might have a lot more attention out there than we do on the West Coast. I don't know, but that's again, I don't like doing the whole our community thing, because what's happening on the East Coast ain't happening over here. And we're tied in with the Latinos. So that ICE talk that you see on Bigo, niggas on here saying like they ICE, they about to put on an ICE uniform. You look stupid doing that on the West Coast. You look ridiculous doing, because it's all Latino out here. I see Latino brothers with black sisters and vice versa. I see, you live next to the Latinos, going to their quinceañeras and all that shit. You can play that out here. So it's all love for the most part. West Coast has always been notoriously well known for being the last frontier, where there was
Oh
no
boy.
slavery over here. There was no slavery over here for the most part. Yeah, there's racism, but yeah, we don't see that shit over here. Oh boy, who said that? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Purple Diva. Go ahead.
I said it because I grew up in Southern California, and I'm a little older than you. You can't. Yes, California is diverse. You know, I grew up in a black neighborhood, but an integrated neighborhood was right next door. So yes, it's highly integrated. But you can't forget about the Watts riots. You can't forget about the Rodney King incident. You can't whitewash. Well, I won't say whitewash. You can't forget that stuff. Living in Southern California, we grew up in this bubble, right? Because we grew up in an integrated neighborhood. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right?
I didn't say it
Fallbrook.
didn't exist.
Well, but okay, fine. But you're saying we don't play that, but that's not true. Fallbrook, which is right outside of San Diego, is the birthplace of the Aryan Nation. That's 110 miles from LA, right? But we get sucked into this bubble as Southern Californians because we go to school, an integrated school. We go to this, that, and the third. But there's a lot of machinations behind the scenes. I mean, hell,
What about
Ronald
Ladera
Reagan.
Heights though, Purple Diva? Like, what about the prominent black areas that are
Okay, yeah,
abundant of black business?
involving,
Why we so focused on the country bumpkins out there in the middle
no,
of the
no, no, no,
valley
no,
that have
no, no,
no
no,
influence? They have no
no, no,
influence on culture. Go to Ladera
sir,
Heights, Leimert Park,
sir, sir,
Inglewood.
sir.
Yeah,
I'm not denying that there are black neighborhoods. I grew up in one, but that doesn't change the fact that outside of those pockets, there is a lot of racism. But we get comfortable being Californians because we go to these integrated schools. We live in an integrated neighborhood.
Can I be unmuted
But
from the comments?
but
no,
at
you
the
said
same time, you can't just sit back and not stay vigilant. Because those country bumpkins that you're talking about are carrying tiki torches on the other side of the country.
Napa, don't type
Yeah,
it.
we don't play that in California. Yeah, California has some
Wait, hold on.
balls.
I'm sorry, Purple. I don't mean to cut you off, but is anybody else muted in the comments?
It's a
Because
you want to put.
I'm about to step away
I'm
for a
muted.
second. I want.
It's a you know how to put your room into waiting mode.
No, how do I do that?
Click above your head, and it should be like set your room into waiting mode or something like that, or on hold. And then when you click like you were going to end the panel, it'll put you in waiting mode. So you'll be in waiting mode, and it kind of resets your live, I believe. But we just see you as in waiting.
yeah. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
got
She
muted
on,
right
she
now.
on a level 16 room level. I don't think she has that option yet.
Yeah, I don't have it yet. So who's muted really quickly so I can unmute y'all because I have to step away for a
Nero's
second.
muted.
Me.
Nero,
Yeah,
anybody else?
I just got muted right now.
Oh my goodness. Watch what y'all say in the comments because I'm pretty sure Biko is doing that to y'all on purpose. Nero,
Yeah.
try anything. See
And
if it
Napa,
works.
I
don't
don't know
type.
why I
Don't
Okay,
type
typed
it.
it.
Napa.
That was
Don't type it
stupid.
to try to explain it, bro.
That was so stupid. Oh my god. I meant to put the K on that bitch.
So you muted yourself, basically.
Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah. Okay, I'm good. I'm here now. I'm back.
Nero,
We
did
go.
it work for you? No, it said I muted her. What the hell?
Um,
Damn it, I gotta go.
We,
Hold on.
we could all type coon to make it fair.
I don't know why. Nero, try now. No?
nah,
What's
it's
up,
okay. It's okay.
Asylum?
I'll just listen on this.
Can y'all just when y'all hear her
Behave.
trying to say something, give her some space because she can't raise her hand. For anybody else, because I'm about to step away. I'll be right back though. Keep the conversation going. Please be respectful. And admins, y'all know what to do. We're going
I
back to
got my
purple
gun.
and I believe Napa. And I'm trusting y'all. Be grown now.
So you live in the shadow of Murrieta. You live in the shadow of of Hemet, you live in the shadow of all these white spaces that are very red and very racist. So we as Californians, we fall in this trap of feeling safe, but in reality, we could be suffering from the same situation as people in the South. It may not be as blatant, but trust me, it's there. I've seen it myself. I've dealt with it myself. I've been a victim of it myself.
Well,
You
Deep,
know,
I'm about to
talk to,
sound
I
like
don't. I'm
I'm about
not
to
sure.
sound like
I'm not sure how old you. I'm gonna land my plane. I'm not sure how old you are, but ask some of those old heads that were around during Watts and during Rodney King. I'll be 55 this year. I missed out on Watts, but I was right there, literally in the thick of things with the Rodney King riots.
yeah. Yo,
So that's all I want to say.
My pops is out there turning up out there in them riots. But I will say this though. I might sound like Neuro. I gotta deal with niggas more than these white people out here. I mean, I gotta worry about niggas more than white people. So I gotta deal with Latino and black police officers. I had more run-ins with black and Latino police officers than a white police officer. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I agree. And that might be a byproduct of white supremacy historically. Why Crips and Bloods out here and Latinos versus blacks and corrupted police officers. That might be a byproduct of white supremacy and white history, but I mean, that's what we got to deal with on the West Coast. I'm 33 years old, so I'm out of that age group where they bang on me. But growing up, I've dealt with more black people banging on me, trying to hurt me, than I've ever dealt with a white person trying to hurt me. And there's no reasoning with that. You can't give them a book and explain to them away why this is wrong, brother. We need to not fight each other. That doesn't exist. That's stupid. I have to be on survival mode. I have to look behind my back all the time when I'm in my neighborhood. It's not because of white people.
And I don't
So
disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is the white racism is there, right? When it all goes down, you know, those brothers will get together and we as a community as a whole will do what we have to do. I'm in North Carolina now, by the way. But don't don't think for a second that them white folks that are just 50 miles south of you ain't gonna turn up. Because they already were acting up when they were bringing the immigrants in on the buses during the Obama administration. Marietta and Hemet lost their fucking minds. Them white people went crazy, attacking the buses, throwing rocks and shit at them, blocking the buses, terrorizing those people. Those people had to stay on the bus because they feared for their lives. So they can do it out there if they want to.
yeah. No, I agree with you. I've seen it. I've heard about it. I've heard about those white people. They so far away, they don't even really matter. But I feel you.
See, that's where you're wrong. 50 miles ain't that 50 miles ain't that far away, brother.
Yeah.
Some of those people are buried in Pasadena, not buried, are in constant Pasadena, South Pasadena. Come on now.
No, I feel you. But like Noro said, it's the degeneracy of our people that I've had encounters with. And I lived in DC too for a long time. I lived in DC for 10 years too. So I have East Coast experience too. And that's all. DC is way different from LA as far, and it's a little bit more man, it's fucked up out there. I think DC worse than LA, and people might not agree with that. But the black degeneracy that's out there, again, because of white supremacy, is way worse. And I've always not that's the interactions that I've had than any white person. So that's why I'd be like, man, in the few interactions that I've had with white people, be like, it'd be cool. I never dealt with blatant racism. Not to say that it
Right,
doesn't exist, and not to say that it doesn't exist though. Not to say that it does not exist. It definitely exists on a
Right.
systematic level, and that doesn't mean that a white person is that white supremacy is a white problem. It's an ideology. But again, man, our people are so fucked up because of this shit. And it's like, and I do think we can pull up our bootstraps type shit. Because when you do see it, when you do see black people pull their bootstraps up and work on themselves, you see great momentum, great force. Ladera Heights in DC and in Brooklyn and Harlem or whatever neighborhoods you'll find some pockets of this country that are abundant when black people prioritize themselves and
Right.
clean
right.
up their
And
neighborhood. So
I
yeah.
don't disagree with that. But what do you want? What do you prefer? The blatant racism in your face, so you know your enemy, or the racism behind the scenes that you don't see into the last moment.
Yeah.
All them suit wearing white folk in Southern California who you think are cool, but when the shit hits the fan, you really know what's going on.
Why do
I'll
you
take a.
guys keep bringing this up? Like when things pop off, when shit hits the fan, like what do you guys like? What are you referring to? Are you referring to some sort of revolution? Are you referring to some sort of like race war? Like, do you guys think that what's going to be like blacks against whites? Like, I don't understand. We're like 13% of the population. Like, I don't know. Like, what are we about to do?
What I'm saying is anything, right? It doesn't have to be a race war. Like I gave that point about the Marietta a few years back. That had nothing to do with a race war. All it had to do with was my migrants being put on a bus and brought into their community, and they lost their fucking minds. That wasn't a race war,
Um, hmm.
but it popped off because they all got together and terrorized those people. It don't
See,
take much.
this hypothetical pop off, I don't think most people would even get behind that. It'd be a small minority of whites that would do that shit. These Nazis and these tiki torch wearing motherfuckers, like that's a small
But
minority of
those
the
are
white
like
But
population.
they weren't. But
extremists. Those
those
are
That's
people.
extremism.
radicals.
But those people weren't tiki torch carrying Nazis. They were
Yeah.
just regular old white folk who nobody saw that coming. I didn't see it coming. I was like, "What? They doing that? They doing that in Hemet? Are you serious right now?" So, do I walk around in fear, thinking that all of a sudden there's going to be a race war? No, I'm just saying I've seen what happens when the elements are present. When whatever needs to happen to set them off sets them off, and it's not cute. And I'm just saying that the potential is there because we just saw it. Nobody thought those people were going to do that. These are these are blue collar, white collar people. Him and Marietta, they're bedroom communities now. They're not the sticks. These aren't country bumpkins. These are people in corporate America who work in LA and live outside the city.
Yeah.
And these normal white folks who they say there's people who take showers before work and people who take showers after work. But these normal people, these lawyers, doctors, teachers who work in LA County but live outside of LA County lost their fucking minds. And these are people that we were walking next to every day.
So, what's your solution, right? Because I'm hearing you talk about like the doctors, they're potentially racist, the lawyers, like just everywhere around you, any type of white person you experience, right? They're like a potential racist.
I didn't
Do you
no.
plan on like moving? Do you plan on like are you gonna go to like a more predominantly based country? And if you plan on staying in America, are you choosing to move into a predominantly based area so you don't have to worry about this type of stuff? Like, well, like what
But
are you
I but
doing?
you but you're taking making the assumption that I worry about it every single day, and I look over my shoulder and I'm like worried, oh my God, what is white people gonna do? I'm one of those people who do not believe that white people are born inherently racist. I don't believe that white people are inherently
You
racist.
keep mentioning
But
potential,
but
right?
what
Like there's like a potential
but
threat.
what I do know based on what I've seen and experienced, that people that I least expect to do something like that have the potential to do that. That's just a fact. Does that mean that
Right.
every single white person is going to do it? No, but you'd be surprised when they do. Like I said,
Okay, so you're basically
nobody would have thought in a
complacent
million years that
with
those people would have done that.
potentiality. Is that what it is? Like you're just chill
I'm
with the potential of it
I'm
all.
just saying I'm just saying keep your eye open. Don't get too comfortable because when groups of white people perceive a threat, whatever that threat may be, they circle around and gather themselves.
I just don't understand, right? Like, why can't we just apply this to human beings, period, right? Like, why can't we acknowledge, like, hey, not even only with humans, right? Like, there's a potential threat just from driving in your car to go to work or something, right? Like, why
Not
is
talk-
it like why is
Oh
it centered
Lord.
with why? Well, that's just the reality of it all, right? Like,
we're
just like
not
Napa
talking
was explaining earlier, there are certain black people that yes that do have this intent to harm, right? Like and that's a possible potential when walking through certain areas or living or being raised in certain areas, period.
And I didn't
So
disagree
like,
with that.
yeah, so in that case we should just, instead of like these really specific terms like white people have the potential, like why can't we just say that humans or things have the potential to harm us, period?
So
You know what I mean?
here's what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna stop talking. In Let's just go to the extreme, okay? If something pops off and it becomes this whole racial war, whatever, I don't think that one is on the horizon. I'm using an extreme example. I'm gonna trust that Crip and that blood to be right next to me, standing in the breach, standing in front of me, than my white neighbor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
why do you assume
perfect,
that
perfect you
people
landed.
driven
Perfect
off
you
of
landed.
materialistic
Can
gain
we not skip?
would?
Can we not skip Balboa?
stop
I'm sorry.
Kimball.
No,
People
no.
go. Other people are on the panel.
I
Stop
can't raise
both.
my hand unmuted, so my fault.
So, hello, how are you? I took a nap. So I'm not even completely sure what the full topic is, but I've been listening for a little while, and there's a few things that I was hearing, and I'm sure all people have the capacity to do strange things, to do self-protective things, to do violent things, to do predatory things, right? And sure, not all white people have the capacity to do predatory things. Not all white people are bad people, but there are definitely bad white people. And I think, if anything, we should know that from history. And what is rising up right now, from what I can tell, are the bad white people. So I just wanted to put that on the table. And I'm not sure how that helps us unpack whatever we're talking about, but I just felt that missing from the spirit of what was being said. Because I'm very concerned about what the bad white people are doing right now. I hope that you are too. I land my plane.
Diva, if you think these YNs, these little niggas out here, give a damn about black people, and if a hypothetical race war popped off and they will be protecting you, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. If y'all, I don't know if y'all know these niggas out here. If y'all live next to these niggas,
All
they don't
right.
give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about y'all.
Who's that?
They do
Hey,
not give a damn about
who's
black
that?
people.
It live
These
like,
Who's
Crips, these Bloods, these YNs, they
yeah.
don't care about that shit.
that?
I'm sorry. They shooting us in the
Mhm.
face. They shooting their babies in the face. They don't give a fuck.
Got
So nah.
energy, please.
They're the enemy. The black people that's killing black
Got
people are the open
energy.
enemy.
Stop before you get
Oh
Peace,
kicked.
man.
peace, peace, y'all. So I feel like what Napa said is important to dissect, because black people killing black people, or black people preventing, right, the existence of other black people. Terrible, right, Napa? If black people prevent the existence of other black people, that's terrible. Guess what an interracial relationship does? Prevent the existence of black people because of the genetics. That's why gene is in the word genocide, right? And you can commit a genocide multiple ways. Now, let's talk about these YNs that you admitted to be afraid of. I've been out
Nigga,
there.
what? Hold
I've been
on.
out
Ain't
there
nobody
talking to
afraid of
them.
these wild niggas. I'm a young nigga
Oh, okay.
myself, bro.
My mistake.
I
My
catch
mistake.
fade
I'm
with
gonna
these
move
niggas. I
on.
catch
I
fades,
said
bro.
my
What you talking
mistake.
about?
Hey, y'all
I catch
niggas,
I said
fades.
my
stop.
mistake. I'll
Got
move
energy.
on.
Talk,
I, I,
please.
I said my mistake. I'll move on. However, we characterize your last statement about these YNs shooting people in the face, whatever impression we were supposed to get from that, that is what I'm talking about. Right about that. I've actually been out there with these YNs on the corner, right? The OG that was running around with PNC back in the day, shooting people, chopping people up. Cops found him dead in the bathtub, shooting a dude at the basketball court, running the car into the basketball hoop, high speed chases, right? The OG was standing across the street. And his young boys, he had the YNs out there. I've been retired off the block. I'm an old man. I'm out the way. I done passed legislation and all of that, right? But I see my young dude out there. He's the nephew of a close friend of mine. Walk up to him, say what up, chop it up a little bit. I'm wearing my conscious regalia. I address everyone, peace, God. Each corner boy, right? Peace, God. So look, we out there chopping up, and I ask him, yo, you heard about da-da-da-da-da? Tell me how, not my man's nephew that I know, the other complete stranger corner boy starts giving my man's nephew a lesson on melanin just because I put the frequency out there and just so happened to ask them, hey, yo, you YNs that'll shoot a nigga in the face ever heard about melanin? And the YN turned into a master teacher right in front of my eyes because I put the frequency out there. None of the other YNs was going to bring up melanin. But I walked out there. I put the frequency out. Guess what resonated back to me? A God body. The corner boy manifests into a God in front of my eyes. You feel what I'm saying? And then he gave lessons to the corner boy that I knew. And I'm standing back, arms folded, watching the God that just manifested on the corner. You feel what I'm saying? So it's there, bro.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Wait,
You gotta have a little bit of hope.
hold on. Let me land my plane.
Right.
I tell them that the brotherly love, and it don't matter if you don't like black people, so you don't care about melanin, or are people not shooting each other. That's you. You've left and abandoned the community. But don't laugh when people uplift this same community you criticize. You criticize it. I'm trying to amend that. So really, this just seems like hate for black people. But anyway, I'm out there telling them how brotherly love overrides oppression and destruction. That's what blood really means. I tell them how community revolution in progress. That's what Crip really mean. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm also talking their language. I'm also entering the conversation through an avenue they're familiar with. But look how prevalent it is. You talk about these Bloods and these Crips. How could you reach them? The very word blood is a revolutionary mantra. Brotherly love overrides oppression and destruction. These conversations are waiting to be had. These YNs are waiting to be saved. These YNs are waiting to protect you. You don't honor them as much as they don't honor you. So this is the love. This is the love. This is the love. This is the love that we have to normalize amongst each other. Black man to black man normalizing love. Black man to black woman normalizing love. Black woman to black woman normalizing love. Black man and woman to children normalizing love. But we got to do it instead of standing back going, yo, look at these YNs and Crips and Bloods and fuck that. I'm not settling for no baby daddy, baby mama lifestyle.
Brother, we get it.
Then leave, right? Because the corner boy nor you are adding to the progress of the black community.
Corner boy is doing less than what I'm doing, to be fair.
Who's the next one?
Oh.
Balboa then Napa. Balboa then Napa.
Actually out there, you know. Look at my profile picture.
I know that your orator got energy, but
I'm tired of showing people respect that disrespect me. You know what I mean? So just pay attention to the comments and picking at people and the tone I've been gently using with people, because my tone is going to start to match
in the comments. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Nobody's really like scared of that. I don't know. This is Bigo. But that's just the reality of it. Continue.
Come on, guys. Who's next? Who is coming next?
Balboa, you're up next.
I was taking my turn. But I just wanted to say, so first of all, I got energy. I don't know. I know you're an orator, right? But I don't know if you do spoken word per se, but that whole breakdown that you just did, I'm assuming YN is talking about young. Yeah, but that was dope. I feel like I want to hear that again. I would like that to be put on paper. About that experience that you just broke down about, you know, approaching the brothers on the corner or on the block. And I feel like I understand that. That resonates with me because I know that experience personally from my experience with young dudes that seem to be out there rogue, but you could tap in. You could definitely tap in, and you could also spark an idea, spark a new path, spark the goal of participating in community. I've personally done that. And I know that to be true. And I've seen transitions, I've seen elevation, I've seen people step off the block and become that person that does that for the next person too. Right. So each one teach one. And just in regards to the elements in our community, like I just hope that we're always remembering that many of those elements exist because of what has happened to us. I hope that we can recognize the affected groups when we see them, right? Whether they know it or not. Because some of us are that are doing the bad thing know the history of it and are still doing it, right? And sometimes that right there, that God energy just broke down, is the missing link that they need. They needed somebody to pour into them in a moment. And sometimes it only takes a moment. I have a young lady that was about to go to jail for 3 years. And because I poured into her in a moment, not even for a long time, that lady turned around and became a graduate of Boston University within a short period of time. And she was not even going to graduate high school. So I heard that spirit and I just wanted to echo it and speak to it. I land my plane.
I just wanted to say, and I'm from East Flatbush, Brooklyn. If anybody knows where that is and like how that is, I was born and raised. I'm still actually here to this day. When we talk about these people, like I'm not saying that they are completely ignorant, right? Like you're gonna find your classic YN, and they might have like they might have knowledge, sure, but they're just not applying it at the end of the day, really. Because even if it was like if they were applying it, they wouldn't be YNs, period. Like I get that the route to money might be a little bit slower if you do come off of X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, like the emphasis here is that there's a lack of of care. Nobody really cares, right? Because people are surviving. So all of this talk about like, oh, we're taking baby steps. It's been like I don't even know how many years. Like, why are we still taking baby steps? Like, we have to be realistic at at a certain point, right? That it's not realistic for all the entire community to think in unison. Nature doesn't even really do that. So I'm struggling to see how I'm struggling to see y'all visions for the Black community when it's just completely unrealistic. Like I don't know what else to say. Yeah. So,
Hey,
You took
Neuro,
that
if you're
example
landing,
out of context. That's
hey,
why,
got
bro.
energy?
It's all right.
Sorry about that. Napa,
Peace,
you're up
God.
next.
Yeah, damn man, it's all over the place, this conversation, man. Because I'm from South Central. There's moments where you'll see some unity. We'll have our little moments. Nipsey gets shot in the face by a nigga from the same set, and then everybody come outside, and then you get a couple of days of some peace, all right? Or Kendrick Lamar get on stage, you see some Crips and some Bloods. That mean that's not a reflection of LA. And I'm around a lot. I'm only around black people. Ain't no white people where I'm at. It's only black and Latino. And I see YNs every day. It be hot as hell out here. Niggas be out here with ski masks on. They do not give a fuck about that shit. And I'm able to interact with it on a very, very personal level because I look like these niggas, right? I look just like these young niggas, right? I'm walking around right now looking like just a regular ass nigga with a hoodie on. So I don't have that conscious memorabilia on. I don't have that. I'm having a real interaction with them. And I mean, yeah, you like Noro said, you have you're 1 out of 100 niggas that I know about some mathematics, I know about some whatever the fuck. These niggas don't give a fuck about that, and it's not lasting that long. Even if they do know about some shit about some Black history, that shit don't mean shit. It's not over. It's not over. It's not overtaking all the elements that's in the hood. Because supremacy, whoever you want to blame, whatever you want to blame, that little bit of consciousness, that magic that you think that you gave that young nigga is not going anywhere past that conversation. Outside
yeah.
that conversation, he's still dealing with a bunch of other YNs that's on his head. It's a very dog eat dog environment. I don't trust it. I don't have too much faith in it. Y'all might have some faith in it. That's good for you. I don't have faith in it. I'm one of the motherfuckers that be like, let's get the fuck out of here. If you are a woke or whatever y'all want to say, get the fuck up out of this country, honestly, or out of that neighborhood, out of that region. I don't believe in fixing this shit up. I have a very nihilistic approach to it. And it's not about being scared of the shit or none of that shit. God energy, I guarantee you wouldn't walk down some of these blocks that I'm on. I guarantee you wouldn't walk down doing that shit. You will look goofy doing it. You will look goofy trying to proselytize to these niggas. Don't act like ain't Nation of Islam over
Should I
here,
be?
Hebrew Israelites over here. It's all kind of niggas over here trying to proselytize to these young. They don't give
Can
a
I ask
fuck
you one
about that shit.
question?
They don't
Ask you
What's
care,
up?
man.
They don't give a
Yo,
fuck, bro.
I just want to ask you one question.
What's up?
Should I be afraid of the danger or should I be afraid of looking goofy? Because if you say, bro,
Because
you
you
look
a target.
goofy, I don't care about
Yeah.
looking goofy. You know what I mean? Plus,
Nah, when I say
also,
okay, that's an
I'm
LA thing. It's an LA thing. Goofy's
thank
an LA thing.
yes,
You
and
look like
but
a
brother,
target.
that was
You
my
look like
point.
an open target that I could just hit a
Be,
lick on right now. You look like a
because I
lick.
don't
You look
belong
like a lick.
there.
Yeah.
Because I don't belong there. I'm a New York nigga. That would be foolish. It's the community there that resonates with the people. That's halfway related to some of these dudes, where people could
Yo,
go,
these
"Oh, nah,
niggas.
that's Cuz. Oh, nah, that's Cuz and them. Chill out, Cuz. Let's hear what he got to say, Cuz. That's my people and them.
Yeah, it is.
All types of shit, right? I'm not from there. It would be stupid of me to walk over there and do that. A real street person knows that. Someone with some street smarts knows that. A former corner boy who was elevated to someone who could pass legislation knows that. Right? It took an older dude to tell me and put me up on Illuminati, Freemason, and give me some energy, and it completely changed my life in one night. So don't tell me, because not only was
That's an
I a former
anomaly.
corner boy, bro, I done been back out there and repeated the cycle. You feel what I'm saying?
I
So that
respect that. God
mentality,
energy. I'm not saying you would look like a goofy,
wait,
bro.
my brother.
But
That
I've
mentality of,
seen this
yeah,
before.
look,
Go ahead.
let's see you do it, brother. There's people out here doing it all the time. There's gang outreach all the time, bro. People
That
do
shit
this.
ain't working.
And
That
when
shit
you
ain't working, bro.
when you do it, you do it, because passing legislation is not the only thing I've done for my community. So another thing too, when niggas is just yapping on the internet, some of us really live this and put in work. Some of us is really battling the mayor. Some of us is really making connections with senators. Some of us is really saving the youth out here, to where the teenagers is saying, yo, we need somebody like you to teach us how to be conscious, when I see him at his job at Taco Bell. Because I was a guest speaker at they fucking after school program for youth that flunked out of high school, for youth that shot niggas and they can't go back to high school. That's where I taught at. That's who I was teaching. And that's who told me, yo, we need somebody like you to teach us how to be conscious. So I got the feedback. And that's what I be trying to play it cool with y'all. But on some real shit, y'all talk about shit you don't know nothing about. Talking from a place of fear and idealism. No references, no sources, no books, no historical references, and no action. Who the fuck is you to tell me anything? That's what I want to say to you. But you my brother and I love you, Napa.
No, I love you too, bro. I got respect for you, but I highly disagree with you. But I respect where you coming from. I respect where you coming from. I don't agree with all that shit though. I don't think none of that shit working. I don't think
Like,
none of
why are we
that
talking
civil
about
rights shit.
anomalies
I don't think none of that
and
shit.
just
I don't
pure
think none of that shit y'all
outliers,
talking
bruh?
about mean a goddamn thing. I respect you for what you've done in your micro area of the country. That's beautiful,
There
brother.
you
Right,
I
go.
like,
respect it. But
bro.
that shit
Hold
Imagine
ain't
on,
if
doing
let's
I
nothing for
clarify.
the majority
imagine
of
if
these
it was
black
more
neighborhoods,
of
bro.
us.
That shit ain't.
And
Imagine
it's
if it
getting
was more
worse,
of us.
actually.
I,
It's getting
yeah, I
worse,
don't
by the way.
fuck all that shit,
wants
bro.
to make
Fuck
a
all that shit.
comment.
Fuck all these niggas out
It's
here doing
getting
some fuck
worse,
Balboa
shit.
too,
It's
wants
yeah.
to
getting worse.
comment, guys. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
been already talking. Let her talk. Balboa, go
Mm-hmm.
It
ahead.
ain't working. It ain't working nowhere. Fuck. Where at? Give me a city where that
So,
shit working at.
Let her talk.
so here's the thing. There are actually people who study these dynamics. So, Napa, I fuck with you, but what you saying right now is not speaking life into anything. And it's actually runs counter to what people know to be evidentially proven, right? There's empirical evidence for what God energy is talking about, for what I spoke on briefly, for the fact that if you take the time and pour into your community, pour into youth, pour into the people around you who have needs, there are outcomes. This is actually the reason, and now I just remember the panel that I fell asleep on, that now I woke up to this. part of what happened is that I got cursed out. I was minding my business. Now all of a sudden I'm all these bitches and piece of shit and sucking dick because I'm a Democrat. But you know what Democrats do? They sit around and they pour over outcomes. They pour over goals. They pour over needs, and they figure out, okay, who needs what, where, how we going to put that together? What kind of service or program? Who provides that? Is there a corporation or organization that has funding for that, or has teachers that do that have people that can be boots on the ground that go out and do that? And some of the things that you might see, right? You might see an organization that you know well, that you know cares about the community, but part of how they got funded is because, and I don't want to say Democrats, because I'm sure depending on where you live, it might be a Republican, right? But the bottom line is people in the political sphere who are in government, who are in proximity to the spaces where the decisions are being made about funding and disbursement, are saying, for instance, you know what? NAACP did a good thing. We had X amount of outcomes, X amount of graduates came out of that. And you know what? That community got changed. We're going to go ahead and we're going to send out X amount of thousands of dollars over there so they can do what they know best to do, right? But I don't want to pull too far away from the fact I have a book right here on my shelf that talks about creating outcomes for youth. And it's because those things have been studied and been determined to be best practices for creating said outcomes for youth, right? So what you're talking about is just not rooted in any factual statement. And just because you see on your corner, whatever that dynamic is, maybe there, y'all should be talking to the people from some other corner that did the damn thing so that you can figure out what you need to be putting in place instead of speaking against what we know to be true. I'll land my plane.
Yeah.
Okay. You got something, Napa?
Nah, not really. I mean, yeah, you gotta have a little optimism, a little bit of hope that's left. I personally don't. If I were to tell a young brother, if I were to get my hands on him, I got 2 sons, by the way, so that's my work. That's the job that I'm doing. I got my 2 boys, my 2 seeds out there right now at school right now, and man, they're highly intelligent, gate program and all that, right? So that's my contribution to this society. If I were to get my hands on a young brother out here, I'd be like, nigga, go get a passport. Go specialize in STEM or something like that. Other than that, man,
Right.
most of these niggas is lost cause. Most of these niggas is lost causes, and you seen this work being done for many generations, and shit worked. It got worse. You know what? I am gonna blame white supremacy for this. I'm sorry. I will blame the systematic oppression and all that shit, because that whatever that they got going on, those suits and the powers that be, they got this shit on lock. This shit is over with. This shit is over. And all it's done is created a bunch of degenerate black people in their communities. And I would say, I'm saying this outside in the black community right now. I'm outside. Ain't nobody scared. Ain't nobody in the house right now. Ain't nobody scared of these niggas. I have no fear. I do not care about, I die. I would die. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit, bro. I'm telling you, nobody gives a fuck about what's happening in these neighborhoods. And y'all talk all this shit online, and y'all outside, you doing the politics thing. That shit ain't never worked. NAACP ain't never did NAACP ain't never did shit for black people. Nowhere. South Central, DC, New York, you ain't did shit for black people. I ain't never seen it. It's nothing tangible. Nothing is tangible. Unless y'all creating jobs, unless y'all not creating jobs for us that's really good jobs that we can retire off of, then none of that shit matters. Create opportunities, not no woke shit, not no black history bullshit. Create opportunities for us. Otherwise, nah, fuck out of here with that shit.
So your position is you've given up and we should just do what? And as soon as you say answer that,
nobody gave up on nothing. Giving up on what? I'm still living. I still got kids. What you mean giving up?
Black community, not on life. Come on, Napa.
But Napa, how are they gonna be able to produce these opportunities with the lack of resources? And I don't understand, like, if people think that we have all these imaginary resources.
She out.
Swan,
No,
to some
wait,
people,
no problem.
there is no black community.
Swan, wait. Don't forget, she can't raise her hand. She can't raise her hand, so she may end up chiming in.
So she needs to say, hey, guys, after the next person, I have a comment. Not just keep going on when she hears somebody trying to stop her.
Roger
now,
that.
I want Napa to tell me, well, what should we do or whatever, in this situation of giving up on the community, to say, fuck what's going on, deal with our families. And then after that, Balboa had her hand up and then, sis, you could go.
That's all you can do. All you can do is worry about you and yours. All this other community shit, we and all that shit ain't never worked for nobody. Black, white, that shit don't work. Just do you and keep it pushing. That might sound ignorant to y'all, but I don't believe in that community shit. That shit's over with. It ain't never worked, never will work. It's over. And it never was either. Find your little community. If you got a nice little block, if your block is popping and y'all all woke and conscious and shit is nice on that block, then good for you. If the Bronx is busting where you at and everybody woke and you contributing to that neighborhood, good for y'all. You doing a toy drive or a turkey drive, do that shit. But besides that, I don't have no hope in this the collective and we. I got me and my tribe, the Evans family, and that's about it. Fuck all the other shit.
We got it. Now let Balboa go.
Are you about?
So stop repeating that. Like, if that's a personal thing, and I'm not saying personal in the sense of that the spirit of what you're saying doesn't exist, and for you and for others, right? But the defeatedness is a personal thing, right? But the words definitely has the power to spread and infect others. It's a contagious spirit. So I really take issue with that when people are saying things on these panels that are not based in truth, because you are indoctrinating others. Even if you don't believe that that's what your goal was, you're just speaking from your own heart. But especially if there's people here telling you, no, wait, there's a different way. There's a better path. There's a possibility. And you just want to keep with the same rhetoric, right? There's an intentionality in that. And I heard part of what you said had to do with, well, you got your own kids. In my situation, right? I didn't go to school to become a youth provider or any of that. It wasn't what I was thinking about. I was definitely out here thinking about money. I was working for corporations where I was going to get the best dollar. I was looking for prestige. I wanted to work for the top companies, doing the top thing, hopefully. And I had a son. And the issues that I saw manifesting with my son, specifically within the school system, and looking at what was happening in my community, you know what I did? I created the youth program that then I had my son by my side, that then we brought and connected other resource providers, and we did everything from bringing educators to the table to bringing people from industries that we know were attracting our children to like, for instance, Rock Nation, having Rock Nation come to the program to teach kids that are dope at fucking art, but that had no concept of that could leapfrog them to a positive environment where they can demonstrate their excellence, right? And let Rock Nation teach them how an album cover is art. And they never thought about that because the art teacher never told them that. The art teacher just told them about creating a theme, but not the fact that those themes can be put together to create $1 million concept to be sold that can earn them money in the future, where they can live a life that's based on what their true skills are, happily, in venues that are the thing that everybody gravitates to, right? Yeah, that's how I did it for my kid and the community at the same damn time. And I still have those children from that program are on my Facebook right now, and I'm seeing them raise their kids and the things that they're involved in and the successes that they've had. And they come back and they say, yo, you know what? Do you remember that class that you taught? Or I remember we learned this. And some have told me they never learned what we packaged there. We had the fortune to have two buildings. One is Reverend Ike Center, but is now called the United the UPCA. I don't even remember what the I need to get some breakfast. But anyway, and the Malcolm X Center. We had and honestly, it's simply because I put together a collaboration of people, and we started to have conversations just like we're having on Bigo, by the way. mostly of artists, teachers, and other people that I knew that I felt like could contribute to the community. And that energy got us entry to two of the biggest spaces in my community that we can create a youth program without having to buy a space, without having to rent a space. They gave it to us for free. So all I'm saying is intention is the biggest part of this whole goddamn thing. If you intend to do it, that is what will bring to you and to those around you that you feel need serving, what the outcome is that you need. But this about it ain't gonna work, it's never gonna work, is void. It's a black hole. All it's gonna do
Yeah.
is suck everything the fuck up.
Yeah, no,
I
you're
like
right. You're right. You're right. You're right, Balboa. Damn it, Balboa. You right.
The point is that progression is happening too slowly. And it's been happening, it's been slow for too many years. That's the issue. And I also heard
I
people
raised my
mentioning like
hand.
giving back opportunities
Hey, I raised my
to our
hand.
community. But how are we going to make these opportunities in our community with a lack of resource? And also, when we do have these opportunities, that means that it will be high in demand. So not everybody is like not not everybody is even going to have access to these opportunities. Yeah, it's just a
To
little
mean that
unrealistic to me.
don't do them though. GE, you up?
What's the
Peace, peace,
point of
y'all.
doing it?
Yeah, there's always been naysayers. Anything that has ever been accomplished was accomplished in spite of naysayers, right? Anything that's ever been accomplished was accomplished in the face of those saying, "Yo, don't do that shit. That's not gonna work. You can't invent that. Why don't you focus on doing this? Get a real job. Get a regular job. Why don't you work for your cousin down there? Don't do that. Don't invent that. Don't." Right? Always. And actually, when you strive to do things, one of the main messages that you get from life coaches and inspirational speakers is don't listen to the naysayers, right? Because if you did, you'd never accomplish anything, right? And speaking of the topic of naysayers and this shit, this is dead, yo, it's dead. Um, it's not, right? And if it wasn't for people like me and Balboa, a few others, it's a queen, Purple Diva, you know, rep. Big reparations in the building, right? Getting our just due, justice, right? We didn't settle during slavery. And if we did, someone say, hey, yo, that's dead. Hey, yo, fighting for freedom is dead. Hey, yo, running away is dead. They cutting people feet off. They putting chains on us. Hey, yo, that's dead. But Harriet Tubman strove on anyway. Nat Turner strove on anyway. Dutty Bookman, who led the Haitian Revolution, strove on anyway. And if it wasn't for those people that have the same ideals and outlook, inspiration, commitment to the community, those people didn't exist, right? Your ass would still be in slavery. You wouldn't be enjoying these luxuries, having the false perception that everything is over. If it wasn't for the efforts of people like me, if it wasn't for the four founders that started this, right? The founders of what's called the struggle that people are running from and scared of, making up excuses and false narratives that AO is dead. No, no, it's dead. It's not dead. The struggle is alive. The struggle is real. But, you know, struggle.
It's
It's
too
hard. It's
slow.
scary.
Slow progression.
It's scary. You get
It's
what I'm
too
saying?
slow, man.
And so did the slaves. The slaves thought it was too slow as well, right? Because Nat Turner didn't end slavery. He didn't free all the slaves. Harriet Tubman didn't end slavery. She didn't free all the slaves, right? But when we talk about the story of how slavery was abolished, the steps that it took, the efforts, the work, the due diligence that it took, all of those are part of the journey, because you can't heat it up in a microwave. You can't insta this. You get what I'm saying? And there were people back then that were naysayers. Even during slavery, you had a Napa over there like, hey, yo, chill. Ain't nobody running away. Oh, that's dead. Y'all niggas wildin', B. You know, there was a Napa over there telling Harriet Tubman, no, we can't do this. And what did Harriet Tubman do to Napa back then? You feel me? Because the show
Nah.
must go on. And
The yes-sayers,
just
the
like back
yes-sayers
then,
outnumbered the naysayers.
just
That's why
like
it
back
worked. But
then,
now we're in a
why are you
generation where the
being rude and
naysayers,
disrespectful? Why are you being rude and disrespectful? I've called you my sister a bunch of times, expressed that you black. I love black people. We all one community. I've shown you nothing but love, unity, and family warmth. Okay? Remember that, young one. So just like back then, during slavery, the height of slavery, where the oppression was evident, the rape, the torture was evident, you still had Napas on the side like, hell nah. For a fact. Facts there was. Because we have the stories of Harriet Tubman having to shoot Napa. So just like today, how our people are struggling, going through fighting oppression that is just as real as slavery, just as prevalent as slavery. You still got the naysayers, and that's fine. Because we need the Napas around. There's always going to be Napas around. That's cool. Those are great guys. But that doesn't stop. One monkey don't stop the show, they say. You know what I mean? So everyone has an opinion. Everyone's opinion is welcome. But you know what they say about opinions and assholes, right? So everyone's opinion is welcome, but you know, some people aren't qualified to really have a suggestion in things. But we entertain them because we love the community, you know, part of the black family. But someone who's never
Respectfully,
built anything is not gonna. Someone who's never built anything is not gonna tell an engineer what's what. I rest. I yield.
The
I
difference between
apologize for
back
asking this,
then was
but
that
Nora, did you
there's a
want
majority yes-sayers to the freedom of our people. But now, this is what we're talking about in our generation, there's a majority naysayers compared to yes-sayers. So,
Boy, who
GG's,
you
bro,
who you
GG's.
telling? Who you telling?
Yeah, I mean,
to?
yeah.
Okay, so my list goes Balboa, then Purple Diva. Balboa, if you got your mic on mute, you still have your hand up.
I don't know what's happening. It wasn't letting me unmute. So yeah, so I got passionate when I was talking, and I just wanted to like round that off because like I said what I said, but I didn't complete the outcome, right? The outcome ended up being in the program we did music, art, as well as leadership, as well as fitness, right? Um and a mix of styles of programs. We did a program where the youth taught each other, right? We took profound youth in dance, acting, and music, right? Like some who only had one discipline, and we put them in the situation to teach the rest of the cohort. So if you was a dancer, you taught the musicians and the artists how to dance, and vice versa, right? Um, and then we had the leadership program that had fitness and arts in it as well. So I just wanted to add that my son ended up becoming a world traveled performer. He's been to a list of countries that I haven't even been to. So it's like you take the time and you build it, your children can leapfrog you by putting in that work for your community with them at your side. Okay. He also works for Meta now. He started out as a trainer. He was the top trainer for the country, and now he's one of the field people that helps the people who are doing what he used to do. So I just wanted to say, like, I feel like I hear a lot from people like, oh, wow, and I've heard Issa talk about this, leaning into that individuality. A problem with Americans is that we live that in our head, that individualism is the way to go, and that's not indigenous, that's not from our bloodline. That's selfish shit. There's a TV show called The Queen's Gambit, right? And if you watch The Queen's Gambit, it's about chess. It's pretty good. It's only 7 episodes. It's 7 episodes specifically because the move Queen's Gambit on the chessboard only takes 7 moves, right? So in that, they talk about how Americans have that individualistic mentality, right? And, you know, at that time, this is when America is competing with the Russians in everything, right? And one of those things was chess. And in that show, what they exemplify is how the Russians would just slaughter Americans time and time again in the chess world until it was expressed to one of the people that the reason why the Russians win is because they don't have that individualistic mindset. They are about country. They're about unity. They're about honing each other's skills and doing it together for the win, right? Instead of the I'm gonna beat my chest and I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna take all the gold and I'm gonna take all the accolades and fuck everybody else. And that's how they win together, by helping each other uplift each other. And it's a good show. Check it out. But I just wanted to, that really hit me when I watched that, and I just wanted to drive that point home about together we can achieve more. The synergy, that's the outcome. That is how you get the win, not doing it by yourself, not just taking care of your own. Because at the end of the day, everything is still at your doorstep. And I know that we've heard stories of parents that did all the things and their kids still got caught up with what was outside their doorstep. So if you don't take care of that, all your work can be for naught. Doesn't have to be, but it can be for naught. I land my plane.
So you, Perp.
Hi. I just want to say, Neuro, with all due respect, I know that your hand isn't working, but your mouth is. So I don't think it's that difficult to say, "Can I go next?" Having said that,
I wasn't even speaking. I was muted.
no, but you were cutting God energy off, and you've been laughing during commentary. It's been really distracting.
I think she's
All
saying it
that.
as a preventive measure for
Okay, no
going
problem. I
forward.
was
Yeah.
literally muted,
Having
bruh.
said that,
I don't know why you're
having said
telling me this now, bro.
having said all that, if you have something to say, please take your turn.
No, I don't really have anything to say right now. Besides that one thing, I guess I'll just reiterate this. People keep mentioning like idealism, and I hear all the efforts that you guys are doing, like I definitely hear it. But to me, this is just peak idealism. You're speaking ideally on what the community should be like. And once again, the progression is just too slow to have long lasting effects. That's just me personally.
From what I understand, Balboa, she accidentally got muted, and it broke her ability to raise her hand. So we've
And
been giving her
I can't
space.
type. So vomited meant got muted. It's
Well,
just
so
back.
she's not banned in the comments because she could put a hand in the comments.
No, she can't. Not when she's muted. We thought she could, but she
Also,
can't.
she is muted.
God energies like that too. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think Issa's back. Issa, you back, Queen?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
back,
but
and I'm gonna go after
you
Napa.
said God energies like that too, but God energies writing in the comments. Can you write in the comments,
Yeah,
Neuro? Because you
mine
could put a
reset.
hand. Oh, yours reset. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Mine
good.
didn't.
Okay. Try it again.
Okay.
No.
Neuro keep
Nothing.
talking that bullshit. That's why his stuff not working.
Nah, I'm speaking a real,
Oh man.
being a
So
realist. I don't
Balboa
like
or
that.
Eva, one of y'all had a comment.
No, I said what I had to say. Thank you.
Well, I was
Balboa.
gonna wait until some other folks go, but I just wanted to give some attention real quick to Robert Davi. Now, if you know him, I forget what character he's played in these different movies, but if you see him, you might know him from different movies. He's like a B. I don't even know how the letter system works, but I don't even know if I would give him a B grade. But he's been in a lot of movies. Anyway, he formed his lips to say that Samuel Jackson was monkeying around at the Super Bowl and that he's tired of the ghetto shit. That we got to get out of this ghetto shit. He's tired of it, and how jazz is the model for greatness, and why can't they just do jazz? I haven't even listened to the whole rant because I just clicked it real quick while I'm sitting here. It's on a Twitter page called See Racist, RACISTS. I actually had the idea of doing something like this. I'm glad somebody else did it because I don't have to do it now. I'll just feed them information so they can post it. But yeah, I feel like it connects to the vein of what we're talking about when we talk about what our youth are doing. And I know y'all see me in the last few weeks. I've been on the ass of a lot of people. There's a lot of people that talk a lot of shit on here. And I feel like for instance, with what's happening with this neo-Nazi thing, right? And we've had conversations in the last week or so where men on here are like, no, what we got to do is build our own. What we can't do. And I've been on here with those people for 5 years, and I've never seen them come back to the app and say, I did it, y'all. I built it. I got it. We can use this or nothing. They're just running they fucking yaps. And I'm sick of that shit, right? Because it's this constant claim to a solution, but they're never implementing the solution. They're not working with the people implementing the solution. They're just speaking against someone else's solution that is in operation, working, doing something. And that shit's got to stop, because from the outside, this is the kind of commentary that you have going on. And that commentary actually works on, if you haven't noticed, the work that other people have done. There's work that people have done over centuries to carve out spaces for us as a people in the world, right? And it could come in the form of resources. It could come in the form of actual space, right? But what's being done right now is an attack on those achievements. Part of it is because some people on that side recognize the achievements. They don't want us to have that. They don't want us to have those steps forward. They don't want that for us, because for whatever reason, I don't know, they hate us. Oh shit, my phone is dying. I'll be back.
Napa, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I might want to skip because I do want to reframe how I'm having this conversation, because some of these things I'm saying for effect, which this is why I got off Bigo a few months ago, because I was like, I'm saying shit for effect and not, it doesn't necessarily reflect exactly how I see things and feel about things. I'm not so much an individualist though, as I might come off on here, right? I'm not, but when it comes to how we engage with the Black community, it's just differently. I'm not an activist. I'm not into activism or politics or anything
Right.
like that. I'm pretty much streamlined into my children. My children are my main focus. I don't really care about what they're doing next door. I personally don't give a damn, right? But then I also, coming from these environments, I've always had this survival mode, and I don't really have too much time to have faith in that these young niggas on the corner might turn into stand-up young men. It doesn't really matter to me. As long as my sons turn to stand up young men, it's all that matters to me. I can't worry about what I'm sorry, I'm about to say a racist thing with Pookie and Ray Ray, right? I can't worry about what Pookie and Ray Ray is doing right now. I know that's, but maybe this is, I'm not going to say it's self-internalized hatred towards my people. It's not a hatred, but it is, I will admit, it is very pessimistic. It is very I don't have a lot of optimism, and it's not the only thing that I'm pessimistic about. I'm pessimistic generally about Western culture in general. This is why you start hearing me talking about Islamic culture on other panels. You might get, you guys, I know y'all don't fuck with that shit, but I'll start talking about whole other things, whole other cultural anecdotes for what I think would be a good society, a good family. I think the West is falling apart on all levels. This is why you're getting crash outs. This is why you're getting homicide rates, suicide rates, abortion rates. It's just going to continue to climb up. And that's why I generally don't have a lot of faith in American Western culture. No matter how much we activate and be politized or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. I'm saying it wrong. I don't have faith in this culture at all. I'm pretty nihilistic about it. So that's my stance on it. But I'm not paid to think either. So I don't want to get taken too seriously or y'all hold it against me too much.
You know, I love y'all. I love my people. I love my culture. I love my tribe. I
Video,
consider
tell
people
me
like
hopefully
y'all. I could
against you.
I consider people like y'all my tribe. People that I come around and I sit and talk to. I consider God energy my tribe for the most part. You will be in my tribe. I don't believe in the we thing. You know, Fusion Design's my tribe. East is my tribe. You guys have a lot more in common with me than this one or two different subjects we're having in. You know, so that's where I'm at with it.
All right, that's cool. Got energy.
I know it's a little bit too
Nah,
late to make this
Val, you wanted
announcement,
to
but
finish what you were saying, and then we could go to God Energy.
I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, I thought I put you in there. Okay.
I was just
So,
saying
so
that I know.
I just wrote in the comments that you are paid to think, Napa. The currency, however, is attention and love. You know what I'm saying? People are listening to you, and I feel like it's weird to me to hear you have this spirit because I do feel like you are a profound thinker. You know what I mean? I do feel like you have a contribution, and I feel like what I'm hearing is that you haven't carved out your method of infecting the people around you in a positive way. And I'm not saying you're not doing positive things. I'm just saying that purpose is not based on the construct that somebody else created for you. We're not telling you you have to create a youth program. We're not telling you that you have to create a nonprofit organization, but there's a path that exists for you with what your mindset is and your belief and what you feel the needs are that can affect another person positively. Positively. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that you find that because I think there's value in that. That being said, where I left off was like this dude is going after pretty much like I guess the black community because that's the way that he's framing it, right? And I just want to put out there like there's an all-out war. There's always been a war. That war is afoot definitely right now. If you haven't noticed that there are groups of white people, right? There's people that consider what's happening right now to be the fourth Reich in America. If you know what the third one was, you know what the Holocaust is, right? And so if they're considering this the fourth Reich, I just want to beg the question to you, who do you think the new Jews are? You know what I'm saying? And then do we just have this guy on the internet talking about like, I'm tired of y'all shit. Like, I'm tired of watching y'all, you be so fucking ghetto. And then you have this president that's in office that's passing all this legislation. And part of what he's doing is attacking black leadership, black ideals, black culture. And I just think that we need to band together now. We need to figure out what the path is of preventing that war from swallowing up more of our people. Part of what you're talking about, Napa, is casualties of that war. Seriously. And I think you know that. I think I heard you talk about being in California. Listen, I have cousins that grew up in Long Beach. I the only person that I've actually really seen murdered was on the streets of Long Beach when I was there for a summer, right? And my cousins live there and they don't now. And they got families and they succeeded. You know what I'm saying? Somebody makes it out. Who's it going to be? Right? And I think it's a collective contribution thing, but I also feel like we need to be more sophisticated. What I know for certain, especially being in proximity to tech, is that there are people that are taking this shit so fucking serious. I just watched a video a couple days ago on my panel about Malcolm X's father. And the thing that occurred to me is they talked about the fact that their house got burned down and that in the town that they live, this was when Malcolm X was 6 years old, there were 70,000 Ku Klux Klan members at the time. And what occurred to me is that somebody counted. And that was then. And I just want to impress upon everybody that that's the level of sophistication. They're not just having conversations, they're counting numbers. How many we got, how many we need, how much more people should we bring to the fray? How are we going to do that? What meeting will they be at? Where are we going to put them? What jobs will they hold? What policy can they change? So as much as people think that politics is not important, these people weaponize politics against us. So if we're absent from it, what the fuck do you think happens? It's happening now. I land my plane.
Beautifully said, Balboa. And right before you go really quickly, God Energy, I just want to say, like, a lot has been said on this idea that nothing can't be done, and really it's just this idea that you don't really want to do anything, and that's not an issue. And like Balboa said earlier, that's probably just not your lane, but I feel like it is against all Black people if your lane is to speak against what is being done. That doesn't help anybody. It helps us the least. You're actually helping the other team. And for this idea that is moving slow, well, yeah, we're working against a fucking system. How fast did you think it was gonna go? Like, I'm very confused on the time limit you're giving to the way these people are continuously finding new ways and new intricate laws to put against us. So it's like we are a person in front of a machine, and the machine is making 10 blue hats every 10 seconds. And we can only paint hats, 2 hats red every 10 seconds. Of course, it's going to be a slow process. But that don't mean that's not a process worth fighting, right? It's not and as much as I feel like what the conversation was about, and I'm sorry, I'm using y'all as in a general statement for people who are talking on the opposite side of doing things and things that you say. So if you want to put them shoes on, go right ahead. If you don't, I'm talking in general. But the talking against it, the idea that things aren't going faster while not being a part of the speed, I think is crazy to me. It's very crazy to me. And we're constantly talking about the effects of the machine. We're talking about how everybody's having these blue hats on, but we're not talking about how we could break the fucking machine or how we can change the color to be purple or orange or something. We're never talking about that. And that's what the real conversation needs to be about. But it's hard to have those conversations if we got to first fight with our own people about it being a problem in the first place. Or the fact that there is a problem, but, they just want to not do anything about it. They just rather opt out and do all of these other things. But
Hey, how you doing? What's the topic? I came in kind of late.
We're having interracial conversations, talking about our Black community and how we need to maneuver as a community, if we need to maneuver as a community at all. What does it look like? How would you see it going forward? And what do you see for the Black community? And how it juxtaposes with other races? I'm going to ask you to hold off, listen for a little bit. And, whenever you're ready, just raise your hand. We're going to go
but
to
I got
God.
a question on there on what you had just said,
Hold
though.
on.
See, I be fucking niggas in the
Hold
ass, you know what I'm saying? And I fuck a lot of men, you know what I'm saying, bro? See, this is why I be fucking niggas in the
because
ass, because
I'm
you women don't know how to
driving right
shut the fuck
now.
up, you know what I'm saying, bro?
Please
Shit,
kick
shut up when
him.
the nigga talking,
Whoever's
bro.
here, kick him.
Shit,
I
you
don't have
say
time to
steady
argue
running
with
your mouth, bro. Shit.
Thank you. What I don't have time to do right now is put people on mute, so I need everybody to have their big boy drawers on. I am driving, and what I'm not about to do is crash out because niggas don't know how to wait their turn. So, like I was saying, it was on God Energy. Everybody else knows what the conversation is about.
Nah, I said skip me. I'm good. I'm good. I don't got nothing to say.
Yeah. Huh.
I was just gonna say, I know it's a little bit late to add this to the conversation, but y'all know this was a juicy one. So if y'all thought that I wasn't recording it, you're dead wrong. Got it
Oh
locked up.
shit! Come have me on YouTube sounding like a goddamn Candace Owens.
Nah, not at all, Napa.
Shit.
I'm gonna keep it funky with you. You know, Balboa wasn't just talking to you, bro. She was talking to me. She touched my soul on this shit. I gotta get it. Bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't singing a
Well,
lot.
Balboa
But,
always she be sobering me up a bit.
Man, gotta own it.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean all
glad.
y'all, man. All y'all, for real. It's one
I'm
of those
glad. I'm glad.
conversations.
And you know, it's always love, Napa.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
it's never any hostilities. Because in all reality, I've had enough conversations with you to know where your heart lies. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So even
I
though we
came in
do
hot.
disagree, yeah,
Yeah.
I already you was napping. You know.
I think that
And
all
I
black women
ain't
should date
say
outside
that.
their race and leave black males alone because they're fucking
Get this one out
losers,
of
you
here
know?
too.
White
Get
men
it out
have
of
more
here.
money,
I know
Arab men
that.
There
have
go
more
your
money,
girl,
Asian men have more
Neuro,
money.
Neuro. There go your girl, Neuro.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah,
And
she's
God
funny. She's
energy.
funny.
You know I respect and look up to you, bro. Like I'm always talking about you and shit. So it's like,
I
bro,
appreciate it.
don't let any of that shit get in the way. I know we always have
Of
this
course.
conversation and it gets hot. We had this
Yes.
conversation 2 years ago. We had this conversation 2 years ago, and it was the
Yes. Yes.
same shit. It was the same heated energy, and we
But
moved on from.
you know what always makes me smile and makes me so proud of you, even when we in the middle of it, it's always one thing that you say that make me smile, and I just be so proud. And it's when you talk about your kids, bro, because it's like anything I say about your community,
Black men don't take care
you
of their
you,
kids.
you
Like they're
are
fucking
saving the
losers. They're broke
community.
as fuck. They're
Goodness,
criminals. They like going to prison, fucking other men, and creating more baby mom.
Yeah, kick her out.
Right. Your
thank you.
your commitment to your children is commitment to the community. And I said this last time, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it is crazy how we get caught up in this because we both got our views on it along the journey. But the end point, we both agree pretty much on the end point with this as well. Because I told you last time, the efforts you put in with your children, that is, contributing to the community because you're giving the best of your children to the community. Or if they choose, right? They may choose to traverse the world, and that's
Racist enough
blessed to
not to
them as
take care of their
well.
kids. They're all
That's
they're
blessed to
fucking
them as well.
losers. They will never ever be a man at all. They're fucking losers.
Jesus.
So you are contributing to the community and working hard towards it by being a black father, black family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Black family man at least.
yeah.
You
Most
know.
definitely, most definitely. Yeah.
So
Consolidate the panel, Issa. She's gonna keep coming back.
I got you. You gotta wait till I hit the red light, but I got y'all. Give me a second.
And
Black
Neuro.
men are
Oh
the reason
damn,
for the
that's
broken
crazy.
community. That's why
She's
they don't take
what's
care of their
going on with
kids.
this
They're
shit?
broke as fuck. They complain about financial stability.
Yo, what the fuck?
Random people, don't y'all want to just come up for a second while I'm driving?
Man,
I
hey
got
yo,
you, bitch.
and
I
Neuro,
got
I
you.
feel
If
like
anybody, if
I
anybody
relate
down
to
in
my
anybody
bad,
down in the
Skinny.
comments can come
Are you
help
saying
fill up
my
the
name?
seats. Come
Yeah,
fill
no, I
up
was
the
going to
seats so
reference
we
you
can
because I
block
feel
them out.
like you kind of got paneled, you kind of got jumped on too, but I kind of relate to you too. I feel like you're the youth that's disappointed in the elders and in your community, and I feel like that's a real reality too.
Yeah.
I feel a bit. Oh my
Disappointed in
God,
black
I'm
males
lit.
because they're fucking losers and they failed the
Fuck.
black community. They're the most incarcerated.
What the hell? How many pages she got?
Right, and they're all called I'm lit, and they're all
Like 20.
But don't let it make you bitter. You know, that's what I try to be careful of. It's not letting the disparity make you bitter towards your own people. Like I'm lit, you know what I mean? You don't want to be so bitter that you hate black or it's sounding like you hate black men or black people. And I try to be aware of that because
Wait,
it is a
who?
lot to critique. No, I'm talking to you. I'm not saying that you hate black men, but sometimes this rhetoric that we talk about critiquing our culture comes off like we're hating on black people. Like we hate black men. When we say there's a shortage of good black men, it starts sounding like I'm lit or Candace Owens type shit. It starts sounding a bit self hatred, And I hear you, and there's some parts of that I can not relate to, but I see what you're saying, because our community is very fucked up. But we got to be careful in how we communicate these ideas, you know, and like just constantly be in reflection mode, you know. But I'm not saying that you hate black. I'm not saying that you
I
hate
don't know
black
really
men.
what I said to come across that way, really. Majority of the time, I would just speak on these things and it's automatically taken as like, okay, does she hate her own community? Does she hate herself? But like, I don't know. I don't know how else I need to word it or something. Maybe it's like tone, but I
No,
definitely
I
don't
know. I
hate
read
my
what you.
It's
community.
not.
I
Hold
read what
I
on,
you
hold
said.
love
on.
my
'Cause I did
community
want to.
bad.
I did want to say something to Nero as well, because it's not the tone, right? And this is my experience. It was more so the inability to intake the information that was coming from the other side, right? We understood where you were coming from. We all, and you even referenced that we understood because you said in the comments we agreed, right? But when we started to talk about the eugenics of it all, the actual planning and things that we have actual evidence of happening of it all, it's like all of that stuff went in one ear and out the other. You could not come to a consensus about those true things, right? And that's where it kind of makes it seem like, okay, so if you can only see the negative aspects of what the stats are telling you or what your opinion is telling you, why can't you intake this information from the other side as well? And that's where it kind
Well,
of got like redundant in the conversation.
Well, I would agree that there are certain agendas being pushed onto our community. Like, I mean, I'm a dark skinned Black woman. Like I said, like I can't ignore certain things, right? But what I don't do is like fear monger almost. Like it would be unfair. It's just not in me to say that all interracial couples, like if you guys do have an offspring, like you're just a byproduct of the agenda and etc. Like it seems a little bit inhumane. That was just my
Right,
point. But
but
yeah,
that's
I
the
guess I
thing.
definitely can see certain agendas being pushed onto our community, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Nobody here said that. Nobody here said that a baby coming out of an interracial relationship is
Well,
under some agenda or anything like that. We were all speaking to the nuances of the conversation, but because what you were hearing us say sounded like that to you, you couldn't hear us past that. And we kind of went around in circles saying the same thing over and over and over again. So it's it's something that I feel as though we all do on certain subjects, especially when we feel strongly about it, because there's certain subjects you can't tell me shit about. So I get it. We all have that, but lesson learned. I don't think poorly of you. I don't think you have all of these issues. I don't. I think you're very articulate, right? And I think that besides all the cutting off, I think you handled yourself very well in the conversation. So I just wanted to big ups to that. So you don't think that it was just like all negative coming from my end.
Well said. Well said. This is a good one today. Real good.
I mean, where else can you have these conversations in the world, right? If you're not in a university, where else can you have these conversations? So yeah, this is important. It's important. It's a reminder too, because it's not often that I verbalize any of my opinions on Black issues in real life. So yeah, this is good.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm about to call it because I've been here for a while and now I am driving and I can't really pay attention to y'all like that. So, if anybody wants to live, y'all want to continue the conversation or even have a new one, anybody want to live?
I'll catch up with y'all.
Okay, well, just
You
know
gonna take
this
it,
is
Balboa?
definitely going on YouTube, you guys. Look it up for the Duel concept.
Or purple?
Huh?
Can one of y'all take it?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, I'll give it to Purple. Okay,
It's
so
a, it's a,
I'm
it's a,
just
it's a.
letting. Uh-huh.
Before you leave, has either Purple or Valb or somebody spoken to you about the legitimacy of the potential of a couple of debates that we can line up soon?
We could definitely talk about it on Purple's Fan. I'm gonna follow y'all over there. I just I just don't like. I don't want
Got
to
you.
do this anymore.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah.
I'll be honest. I was making bad
Cars
excuses.
drive.
I just don't want to do this anymore.
Got you.
And Satan, you too, I still love you, even though we disagreed. I'm glad that you're here. And I'm glad that you have a different type of perspective.
Real talk.
Because, like, without your perspective, how do we have the conversation? I will always say that. So I still love you all. And yes, I'm passing this over to Purple. Y'all can find this on Duel Concepts again. Let me do this while I'm at the red light.